Hey guys, welcome to Farm Charm Chic. I'm Emily, and today I have some fun spring-inspired DIYs for you. I am so excited for spring, I can hardly stand it. Is the weather getting warmer where you are? Do you have spring fever? If you do, you came to the right place to get some great ideas. This video is part of a playlist, but I will explain more about that later. If you have a chance to hit that subscribe button, I would love if you would consider doing so, and give this video a thumbs up if you like what you see. But let's get started. I had so much fun making this particular DIY. I hope you guys like it. I am just starting with 5 of the medium-sized paint stir sticks that you get at Home Depot or Lowe's. They're the ones that come like 3 in a package for a couple of dollars. And I am just cutting them down enough that the handle indentation part is cut off. And then I'm taking 2 of the 5 sticks, as you can see there, and I'm going to cut them down just a little bit shorter. I'm making some fence posts, like some little fence slats, and so on the 3 that are going to be my fence slats, and then I have 2 crossbars, if that makes sense. It will in a minute here, I promise. But I am taking my little fence posts and I am cutting them at a 45-degree angle to make a point at the top. So I have like a little picket fence type thing. So I am just filing these down because they are very sharp, and I do want these to be very rustic looking. So you don't have to be perfect when you're getting the angles on the top or anything like that. Now I'm just taking some antiquing wax with a baby wipe, and I am just rubbing that over all 5 pieces so they all have this stained look to them. And now I am going to go in and very liberally brush some white paint, just white chalk paint on them. You could probably use acrylic, just dry brush anything white. I'm just wanting to get a very aged look. Now, I don't want these little crossbars to be completely straight. I want them to look kind of like they're a little bit crooked. I just want this to look like a dilapidated fence, like it's just been aged and old and sitting out forever. And so I kind of put them a little bit askew, and I'm just using some wood glue and hot glue. Hot glue would probably be sufficient. I just thought the wood glue would give a little bit of an extra bond. Now, I have this little tag that I got at Dollar General, and I sprayed it with water. I used my heat tool. I could not get that little portion to come off there, the little paper that was on there. So I just decided to put some hot glue on the back of it and put some craft paper, or not the back of it, but on that part, it's going to be the back. And then I just cut that off and file it. So that gives the back a nice clean look rather than seeing like, you know, all of that ripped paper on there. So I just go in with some green paint. I believe that this is celery from Waverly's chalk paint, but whatever color is, you know, hitting your fancy for spring. I just thought the green color looked really cute. And then I just use my heat tool in between each layer to dry. I got that heat tool for Christmas and I love it. And then I am just putting some antiquing wax. I am brushing that on to make this little tag look aged as well, kind of, you know, like it was a piece of wood that was painted, you know, and then the paint's kind of chipping off. And I have this little paper from Hobby Lobby, and it has like these little almost seed packets is what it looks like, and I thought this would be really cute for spring. So I just cut this one out, and I am just going to go around the edges with antiquing wax, and I lightly brush the top of it to make it look like it's kind of aged and matches rather than it's like not so stark white. And I just use some purple school glue, the glue stick glue, and get that on. And then I do go over it with Mod Podge just to make it so if I do like put this on my door or something, it's going to stand up to the elements, if that makes sense. This next part was so much fun for me. So I'm just taking some different florals that I had. I just used everything from my stash that I had. And I took a couple pieces that had wires like that you could bend around that bottom slat. You can kind of see how I did that. And I put those on first because all of my other flowers that I stick on there that have the stems, I slide them through, and then I will put a big glob of hot glue on here. You'll see in a minute, but I just kind of wanted them to have a little extra stability, and I thought that worked out perfect to kind of slide those in. And I tried to come up with some flowers that, you know, kind of represented spring or were just nice and, I don't know, felt like spring to me, spring colors. And then when I get to all of my things stuck in there, I put, here's my big glob of hot glue, but I have these cute little flowers that are from Dollar Tree, and I just go ahead and stick 3 of those on just to bring in that pop of color. It covers the little glue spot there, and it just really makes it vibrant, and I just feel like it really just makes it so pretty. So I did originally tie my little tag, the little tie on the top of it, so I untied it and tied it like it was hanging from the fence. I saw something similar to this on Pinterest for one of the stores for sale, and I want to say it was like $40 or something. So I made it for a lot less than $40, and it's personalized. I made it, but I am doing right here. I'm just taking a little bit of scrap wood to put under the tag to help bump it out to keep it like three-dimensional, so it doesn't kind of like fall in, if that makes sense. So you can kind of see how I did that. And then I just glue the very tips of it where it will be placed on the fence, so that way it won't hang. You could have it hang, but I wanted it more to be more secure. Plus, if I do hang it on my door, I don't want, if the wind blows, things like flopping around everywhere on it. So I just take some rope from Dollar Tree and I unravel it so I get one of the strands, and then I just tie off both ends and use some hot glue on each end, so that way it won't unravel or anything like that. And then I am just going to put a big strip of hot glue on each side of this and put the fence. I did go back in a couple of days later with my staple gun and did a couple of staples on each side just to help give this a little bit of stability. I'm sorry that I don't show that, but I love how this turns out. What do you guys think of this? I think it is so beautiful. It is perfect for spring, and I just love the little farmhouse feel to it. I don't know. I just love this one. Please let me know what you think of this down in the comments. As I mentioned earlier, this video is part of a playlist. It is the Spring Has Sprung open playlist, which means down in my description box, you are going to see a link for a playlist. When you click on that, it is going to take you through all of the videos in the playlist. There are several DIYers who have participated, and all of their videos will have at least 2 projects that are spring or Easter inspired. This playlist is hosted by Crafty Cove, Mama Can Make It, The Rusted Willow, and 6 Kids in a Glue Gun. And this month, the Spotlight Crafter is Creative DIY by Mumdas. Make sure you click that link down in my description box and watch not only all of the host videos, but all of the other DIY crafters who are participating. I definitely guarantee you are going to get some wonderful spring or Easter inspiration. Let's get right back into DIYs. I got this cute little sign blank at Hobby Lobby. You can see it was $3.50, but I bought it when the metal items were 50% off. Now I am jumping on the Chalk Couture bandwagon, and we are going to try a Chalk Couture stencil. I have only tried one other little teeny tiny like Chalk Couture tag, so this is kind of like one of my first like on my own projects. So I am just taking my little fuzzy mat here, and you're going to lay the stencil down on it a couple of times. I'm not even sure I was doing it on the right side of the mat, but it seemed to be doing what it needed to do. But you do this a couple times to kind of make the adhesive on the back not super sticky, because you do want to be able to lift this off of your surface. So I am just using the Welcome to Our Nest portion of this stencil. So I just line that up. It lines up perfectly with the sides of my little sign. And then I take my black chalk paste and I am just spreading it with my little tool there. And I am just going to cover this completely. This is very much like screen printing. If you've ever done graphics or seen anything like that, the same concept here. I am just gliding that paste over where all of the openings are of my saying there, the Welcome to Our Nest. And then moment of truth, I go to peel this up, and I'm honestly shocked and amazed at how wonderful that works. I mean, look at that. It was so easy. I did speed this up to double time, but other than that, like that's the amount of time it took me to do that. I just love how that turned out. If you do have questions about Chalk Couture or anything, just leave me a message or find me on Instagram, send me a DM or something, and I'll get back to you to get you some more information. But I am just taking now some antiquing wax, and I'm going around the edge of the sign to kind of age this. And then after I go around all of the edges and I focus on like my little holes where the twine will tie, I kind of go through the whole sign to kind of just barely buff in some of that antiquing wax to kind of give it a really aged look. I thought the Welcome to Our Nest was a very spring type of saying. I thought it was super cute. I love that idea that this is just, you know, welcome to our home. Just kind of a fun little take on that. I I feel that this sign is going to need something more than just putting that little twine hanger back on it, so I decided to make a scrap bow. Now you can customize this to be whatever colors you want. I know necessarily like these more natural, the blacks and the twine and everything are maybe not the most spring type colors. However, this is kind of a neutral decor that does match my house, but you could make this whatever color you wanted. But I'm just cutting about 6 inches off of each of these different ribbons. I even stick a little bit of jute twine in there, just anything I can think of. It's called a scrap bow. So you just kind of put scraps of whatever you have in there. And then after I kind of lay these all just at different angles, I just take some twine, I turn it over and I tie that twine off in the back, tie it really tight, and that's what's going to scrunch all of your little scraps together. And then to kind of finish it off, I just take one of the ribbons that I used in the bow itself, and I just kind of glue it around the back and wrap it around to the front to make the little center to the bow. Now I just go ahead and tie on that little jute twine hanger back on the sign so that way I can hang it, and then I am going to glue the bow on in the corner. I did take the time with the bow to trim all of the ends so they had a nice angle to them, or a dovetail, and just kind of make the strips of your ribbon kind of match the size of your sign, if that makes sense. And then I did decide it does need a little bit of greenery to kind of freshen it up, so I'm just taking a couple of sprigs. I believe this is like eucalyptus is what this artificial plant is. It's one of the ones from IKEA that's like $4 or $5, so I just took a couple sprigs off of that and just glue one in each side of the bow there, kind of sticking out. I feel that adds a little bit of freshness, makes it look a little bit more spring-like, I think. But I love how this turned out. That chalk couture was so slick and so easy. It was so simple. And I just think for just a couple of minutes, like, this is such an adorable sign. Don't forget that I'm on Instagram also. I love to meet new Insta friends, so I would love for you to come over and say hi, check out my page, and see all the latest projects that I'm working on. I'll be sure and leave a link down in my description box so you can easily find me. This DIY is one of my favorite that I've ever made. This is such a fun project. So I'm just using these 2 ironing board signs from Dollar Tree and also a plunger from Dollar Tree. So I just cut the handle on the plunger down and just cut it to whatever size you want. I did 12 inches. You can do it however big you want this little box to be. And then I'm just putting some E6000 and some hot glue at the top, and that's how I am affixing the plunger's handle to it. And when I did the other side, I did just kind of stack some paint cans up, as you saw there, so that way the back end of the sign kind of had something to rest on. Then I just take some painter sticks, and this is why I did 12 inches, is because it's the exact length of the painter sticks, and I just line them up to make the base to the little box. It's like a toolbox planter that I'm making. And then I'm just using some craft sticks to glue on each side to make sure to give that base some stability and hold those painter sticks together. And then I do just use some wood glue on the edges of the painter sticks. And then I also go in with some hot glue and put a bead of hot glue right along where those connect to give it a little extra stability there. So there we go. Then I'm taking this little sign from Easter I had left over, and this is what I'm going to use to make the edges of my box. Now this sign, it's wide enough that I could cut it in half and do half on, one half on each side, but it is a little bit longer than 12 inches. So I do need to trim just a little bit off of the end of each side. So that way I can go ahead and affix this with some wood glue, and hot glue is what I use for the long-term and short-term hold. And then I just go ahead and place each side on there and let that wood glue dry thoroughly before I move on to the next step of painting it. I forgot to mention that I do go in and put a little bit of spackling in the holes there. This is from where the twine was to hang the sign. And so I do just go in and do this, wait for it to dry, and then I sand it down. This just gives it a nice cohesive flat look, and who wants to have holes in their side of their box, right? And then I take some painter sticks and I do cut them down because I don't want the little grooves on the painter sticks to show. And then, so I have to kind of make a joint or a seam in the middle. So I use hot glue to place each side down where these meet up. And then I will take some spackling again and put in the middle of this joint. That way you cannot see the seam. It does give it that seamless look, and that way, and then I do sand that down after that dries. And then I do take this out into my little spray painting studio, my little box. I don't know what you want to call this. This was just what our sink for our bathroom came in, this huge box, and it's the perfect place to spray paint because it doesn't go all over my garage or anything. So I do just give this a couple good coats of white spray paint. You can use whatever color you want to use for yours. I just happen to have a ton of white chalk spray paint on hand, so, you know, go figure. But that's what I ended up using. So just give this completely a good coat all over. Now I did cut out with my Cricut some letters to spell the word flowers, and this is what we're going to put on the side. And you can see I went to try, I'm going to use this as a stencil, and I totally did it wrong. You have to use transfer paper when you do a stencil. I don't know why I forgot that. I obviously don't do this that much. So after I got my transfer paper on there, I just affixed this to the side of my little toolbox here. And then I am just going to use some regular black acrylic paint, and you can see how much I'm taking out of my sponge there. You just want to make sure that you're using a little bit when you're doing stenciling. This is what helps prevent any bleed through of having it bleed underneath your stencil letters. And then I just use an up and down motion, and I just tap all over the edge of each letter, up and down all the way around, and then tap to fill in the middle of the letters just to make sure that I'm getting that nice crisp lines on this. And then that so satisfying feeling of peeling this up. I had just a couple of little areas I did have to go in and touch up. Sometimes that happens, it's not a big deal. I do lift up the center of my O and my R to reveal those. And then you do, just like I said, go in and do any touch-ups that you might need to do or you feel you need to do. I am going to distress this so the touch-ups don't have to be a whole bunch. So I just go with my emery board and run it over the top of this to give it a little bit of a faded, aged look. And then I do wipe it down with a baby wipe just to kind of get all that powder and stuff from the paint lifted up there. So then I go with my little sponge brush, and I am using just that black acrylic paint, and I'm going to give this a little bit of an enameled look, or not a little bit of an enameled look, it's going to look a lot like enamel. So I just go all the way around each of the edges, all over the entire box, and cover them with black. And then I also do go in a little areas to kind of give it that little bit of chipped enamel look. I love how this box turned out. This will be so fun to either put some little potted plants in. It's perfect for a patio. It's perfect to bring a little bit of greenery or floral inside your home. This, of course, I'm doing patio decor, so this will go outside on my patio or porch. But I just think this looks so cute, so versatile. And guys, it's made from a plunger and 2 ironing board signs. Like, how awesome is that? I hope these DIYs got you in the mood for spring, maybe started a little bit of spring fever. I know that I definitely have spring fever. If you are loving the spring vibes and want some spring and Easter inspiration, click that link down in my description box and watch the playlist. You will definitely have spring fever by the time that you're done watching all of these DIYs. I always love hearing from you guys when you tell me in the comments what your favorite DIY was from the video. So I would love for you to go down. Let me know which of these was your favorite. and I would love to know if you are as ready for spring as I am. As always, I want to remind you to be safe, be smart, be nice, be happy. Choose to have a good day because you are amazing. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. If you enjoyed the video that you just saw, here's another one that you might enjoy. And as always, remember to like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching and have an amazing day.